Hello. So this is the bunny. So I start out, the flowers I chose, these yellow ones are chrysanthemums. I like to look at pictures. I actually have my computer open right now as I do this, looking at some pictures off of, I just used Google, and so yellow is a very light color, so I'm choosing to do yellow first because with watercolor we go light to dark. Sorry about the lighting here. I had beautiful lighting and then the clouds moved and then it got dark. Anyway, so I've got chrysanthemums. Whoa, that's quite the word. And then some of I have snapdragons, which are the long ones in the back. And then I just searched pink flower. So I'm not even sure exactly what it was. That's just the flower I wanted. But of course you can pick whatever colors you want for anything. That's just what I did. Oh. Alright, and then to make the pink, I just added extra water to the red. So more water means that it's going to be lighter. So that's how I got the pink. And then the blue here I've started off pretty light. You can always go darker with watercolor. You can't really go lighter. Alright, and then start adding some of the green. There's two different greens here, and you can just and you can also mix colors. So that center part of your tray, you can put some color in there and then maybe add some blue to it and make it a little more of a turquoisey green if you want. Just however. And there's another. So I kind of chose the leaves for the pink flowers to be that brighter green, and then the darker green is more for the chrysanthemums, but you can do that however you want. Alright, putting green in the background here just so it doesn't, like, I don't know how you would say that. I'm just filling in some empty space, I guess. There we go. Alright, so this bunny is a Dutch bunny. What I did anyway, the color on it is a Dutch bunny, if you want to look one up. Otherwise, you can go simple and just make it a white bunny. If you did that, you would just need to put, you don't need to, but you could put some shading with either very light blue. You could use some light black, I suppose, but just to give it some shading underneath the bunny so that it has some depth. I'm using blue here as my shading color here. And then I'm trying to give him whiskers, which is pretty difficult. You see me wiping away and mopping up, and because the whiskers, to see them, need to be white. So I blocked them out, and so I did a light layer, I let it dry, and then I come back again and make it darker and darker as we go along. And I do that kind of with everything. I'm adding to the chrysanthemums now some darker color. I believe that's the ochre color, the yellow ochre. It's kind of a tan. Also, so part of that is you have to let it dry unless you want it to bleed together. So if you want it to bleed, that's great. But I'm wanting some more crisp lines here. So I'm waiting for the bunny to dry, so that's why I'm adding color in other places. So, and there we go. Adding, so not even necessarily a different color, but just less water and more of the paint is being used to make the darker parts of the flowers. I mean, well, the flowers and the leaves. You kind of use a combination of different paint and then just making whatever paint you used originally darker by adding less water. So we're adding to the bunny rabbit, making him darker. He's cute. So on the eye, I want to point out earlier, I made circles. So those are the white spots. So that is the one part that if you can, try and leave white. That'll make your eye pop at the end. I've never used, but it's called gouache. I've heard of people using with watercolor, like to use a combination, and white gouache, from what I understand, will show up on top of watercolor. So, if you filled in the whole eye, you could put like some white paint on top of it. You could probably just use acrylic paint too if you had some lying around. Just make a dot on the eye. But gouache, it's spelled with a Gouche, I think. If that is something anybody's interested in experimenting with. Someday I'll get around to it. Haven't yet. Alrighty. So I just keep adding details, filling in the background where I want it to be darker. So if the places that are darker will recede further into the background, and the things that are lighter will come forward to an extent. But also that goes along with placement. The bunny obviously is in front because the flowers are going behind it. So that also is one way to do that. And then another way is blur. So like the back, if you make the back more blurry than the front, that'll make it seem as though it's farther away or not in focus. Just multiple tricks to getting depth into whatever art you're doing. Let's see, I mixed some purple here, using that as some shadow. I like purple as a shadow. I just don't have any purple paint, so I had to mix it. Alright. Some lines. Put a little bit on the nose. I really like this bunny. I think he's cute. I thought it would be a good Easter one. But, obviously, you can use it for whatever you want. Alrighty. What else can I tell you? I mean, as I've mentioned before, I use a wet, clean brush, or even my paper towel sometimes as an eraser to mop up excess water. And that's one of the big things about watercolor is figuring out how to use the water. Like, too much, too little, will it bleed, will it not bleed? Yeah. I don't use black very often, but I did for the bunny because he is actually black. But as you noticed, I started with blue because I like blue and purple as shadow colors. Alrighty. So I'm just keeping adding, filling in more empty space. I mixed some purple to go as shadows in the back. Some green grass there in the front. Kind of a browny purple. And then, so after it dries, you can take all the tape off. Actually, could probably take it off before because none of the paint really goes all the way to the edge to make the border. But, so this is the bunny, and I hope you enjoy and have fun. Thanks for coming.